Hello and welcome to True North EV. Today I'm going to be chatting with Jean-Pierre, who actually is the creator, designer, all that jazz with the EVOBD2 reader. Before I get started, I do want to kind of talk about some people who have contacted me. We have Eric from, I'm assuming, BC, who actually reached out and told me that he actually purchased a 39 kilowatt 2020 Kia Soul. He purchased it in Nanaimo, so I'm assuming he's from BC. And if that's not correct, you feel free to tell me, Eric. But yeah. And the other one, I actually forgot to write down the name, but he reached out to me on Facebook, actually with a very constructive criticism about how that whole podcast I did, talking about how great the EVOBD2 reader is, how I really didn't explain it very well. So hopefully with Jean-Pierre here, we are able to actually tell how great it is, tell a little bit more about it, and maybe fill in all those little loose ends that I actually left out. Hello, Jean-Pierre. How are you?
Pretty good. James, how are you?
Not too bad. What was the first electric vehicle you wanted and why?
Well, basically, my first electric vehicle was actually a Kona, a Hyundai Kona.
Okay.
Considering different brands and everything, and then for the price point and performance and everything, I choose the Kona.
And do you currently still have the EV or the Kona, or do you got a different EV now?
No, I still have my Kona, and it's very nice that I have it, so I can, develop my product and, fine tune it and improve it. So
yeah,
I plan to replace it anytime soon.
Okay, nice. And is it a 2019 then, or?
That's correct. It's a 2019 Ultimate.
Okay, so you got the bump up from me. I just have the preferred.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to get it very, early on. And then at that time, the only choice I had was to get the Ultimate.
Okay. Yeah, I think I waited 4 months for ours.
Okay.
And why did you want an electric car?
Well, basically, I like technology, and I have a background in computers and engineering and everything. And I want to move away from, gas, and because I see it coming. It's, the energy of the future, and it's the locomotion of the future. So this is why I wanted to go, with an EV.
Yeah. And being in Quebec, it's a lot easier. You got a lot more incentives.
That's right. We have nice
EV.
Yes, we have nice incentives, and then also we have a lot of hydroelectric power. So it's energy and everything. So we're well situated, and the context is nice to have an EV here.
And did you get your Kona with the federal rebate also, or did you get it before that came into play?
Unfortunately, I got it before the federal rebate, so I got a provincial rebate only.
Oh, which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, yours is $7,000?
$8,000 actually.
8,000. Okay, so I'd be okay with $8,000.
Yeah, that's right. Basically, this 8,000 rebate covered the taxes. Roughly.
Yeah. And what vehicle did you have before your Kona?
My last one was Mazda CX-7, and it was a great car. And then I liked it pretty much. I owned it for nearly 10 years.
So you shrunk your vehicle size a bit for this.
Yes, yes. The little downside was the size, in the trunk
Yeah.
back. And for the passengers, I have two small daughters, which they are 11 and 14 years old. We tried it before I bought it and everything, and it was fine for them. And
Yeah.
we managed well. My wife has a Mitsubishi Outlander, a high.
Okay.
It's a bigger car. So
Yeah.
most of the time we take mine, but if we want to go for a longer trip or go skiing with a lot of bags and everything, we tend
Yeah.
to use her car. But the rest of the time I use mine and it's fine.
See, where you only have two kids, I actually have three
Okay.
at 8, 13, and almost 2-year-old.
I
It's a
see.
little tight.
That must be a challenge, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, especially going out to Alberta. It gets interesting. Everybody's a little crammed in there, but
I
it
see.
works. Yeah.
Do you
Um
use a rack on your roof or to put a?
uh I have not. There I was going to borrow a friend's. In the summer, we were going to go camping, and
Yeah,
then we had to change campsites. And where we were going, I could not reach in the Kona.
I see.
So unfortunately, I had to borrow a gas vehicle.
I
So
see. Okay. Okay.
yeah, but I definitely will be getting a roof rack just
Yes.
for those camping trips. And now with the EVOBD2, I can actually make sure I actually get to where I'm going.
That's
Um,
right.
and did you find that you had to change any of your driving habits or anything for switching over to an electric?
Well, the main thing, which is great, is the one pedal driving. So,
Yes.
no, we almost, rarely use our brakes, our foot brakes,
Yeah.
everything. And so this was my main, adaptation I had to do. But I love it. You need to use them once in a while if you don't want to have some rust, on the brakes and everything.
Yeah.
But it's really nice, when you want to decrease speed and everything, to let the regen take over. That's very nice.
Yeah. Uh, what has been the longest trip that you've taken in the Kona?
Okay, I did a long trip, actually, not this summer, but the previous summer.
Yep.
The first summer I got the car, and then I went from Montreal over the Gaspé Peninsula. I don't know,
Yep.
exactly where it is, but it's quite a long trip. Almost, let's say, 1,500 kilometers. And
Nice.
it was great. And I did it, using fast chargers along the way. And the place I stayed, at some point, they had some free chargers. So I could charge overnight on a level 2 charger.
Yeah.
I used only a few times, fast chargers along the way. But it was great, and it was a great trip.
And the trip is way cheaper than if you would do it in a gas.
Exactly, exactly. And I think I've calculated I had free charging a few nights, and then at that point I used a fast charger, a Petro Canada charger, and at that time it was free
Yep.
because they were just in
Okay. Yep.
everything. So I think for the total of the trip, it cost me around less than $25 to make the trip. So that's
you could
amazing.
you couldn't even do $25 in a little, very fuel economical vehicle.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's amazing.
and just to go off of the pros and cons of the Kona or any electric vehicle, what is the worst feature or item that you find in the Kona?
Let me think here. Well, globally, it's the winter type scenario where you get less range.
Yeah.
But it's not a real big, disadvantage because you can get around that. You need, okay, you plan better your trip and everything. Let me think. I I don't really see a lot of disadvantage actually.
Well, I'm even talking like it could be minor stuff. Like my big issue is the hard plastic on the center console.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see. In my case, I it doesn't bother me because actually it gives me space underneath that center
Yeah.
to hide some stuff. So I know a lot of things, USB power supply with a lot of
Yeah.
outputs and everything. So I hide all my stuff over there. Actually, yes, the space in front is maybe a bit more cramped than my Mazda CX-7 for sure. I have less room for the legs and everything.
Yeah.
Space is a little bit tight, but I manage most of the time. So besides that, I think these are the main points that could be improved eventually in a different vehicle.
And I've been hearing from the Hyundai dealer that Tucson or whatnot, a bigger SUV is coming out. That's an electric, which I think will definitely help out.
Yeah, that's right.
Um,
That's right. And it's funny because at that point, when I was considering getting the Kona, I was also looking at the Kia Niro, right? The
yeah.
Niro EV. And then, but the timing, it was coming out later and everything, and I wanted to change before, and availability was more of an issue, than the Kona. So
Yeah.
this is why I settled with the Kona. Uh, Maybe the Kia, the Niro would have been slightly better space wise, but besides
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Yeah, and that was kind of our issue is we kind of also wanted the Nero for that bigger size, and we're basically told you're in Manitoba, you are not getting it.
Yes,
We would have to go to Ontario in order to even get one.
yes.
Um, and then to be on the positive side, what is the best part or feature of the Kona for you?
Well, I guess the Kona for me would be the best feature for an electric car globally because I cannot really compare with other EVs. But
Yeah.
the best feature basically is the big satisfaction that you don't need to go tank, at the fuel station. That's amazing. I was there before with my previous car. I was, filling up every week and a half or so, and then you need to go there and with a car
Yeah.
with an EV, you don't need to waste time over there. You come back, you plug it in when you need to charge, and that's it. So and then you don't contribute to pollution and everything. So that's one of the main advantage. The car is
Yeah.
more expensive as but the fact that you don't need to put gas in it and then you don't contribute to the pollution problem is very satisfying.
And pretty much the lack of maintenance
Yes, the lack of
there.
maintenance. Yes. That's another point.
Yeah. Um, and what is your experience with the dealerships out there for the Kona? Are they very willing to sell it? Are they try to push people more towards the gas Kona version or even servicing?
I think it was kind of hard in the beginning because they did not, really know the car. It's a new car and
Yeah.
everything. But as far as the dealership, mostly is the service. When you want to have service or to change stuff in it or do some recalls and everything, I find that they don't really know well, the car. They're not aware, for example,
Yeah.
recalls. So by doing some research myself and everything, I figured that I know a lot more than they do. So we
Yep.
need to let them know, oh, okay, yes, you have that recall. Yes, we need to do that and this. And for example, the tire pressure, the pressure in the tires, they're used to put, I think, 32 psi. And for the
Yeah.
electric car like the Kona, you need at least 36 psi. And in the winter time, you need 40 psi. So these are the things that you need to check, because you cannot rely really on them to know exactly all the best thing to do for your car.
Which I feel is okay for us that are willing to put in that extra work.
Yes.
But I feel like to keep that EV momentum going, it's sort of going to have to be on the dealership to actually know what's going on and what they're supposed to do.
That's right.
Like, don't get me wrong. I am very happy to promote electric vehicles. I just don't want to keep doing the dealership's job.
Yeah, that's right. And on one part, you can understand, it's new for them, although for Hyundai, they have the Ioniq since a few years and everything, but still it's new for them. So like you say, we need to do some extra work on our part at the beginning, but eventually I hope, they're going to know a lot more better, the stuff they're doing.
Yeah. And I've also found the dealership I bought it from, I actually no longer deal with, because there's a dealership that's actually much farther away, but they're interested in it. They realize this is the future. They will look into issues, even if it takes way longer. They'll call me multiple times to make sure this is going on. Well, what is it supposed to be doing?
That's right.
And it's like, I'm perfectly happy with that. It's their willingness to keep moving it. And I guess on that note, let's get into this fantastic product that you have made. How, if you want to kind of describe the EVOBD2 to those that might not know what it is.
Okay, so basically, I can maybe start a little bit by talking about why I made it, In the Kona, like we have only one screen where we see the state of charge of the main battery. Okay, we have a bar, with steps and everything, but we had only one screen, and that bothered me because I wanted to know exactly at what percent and everything.
Yeah.
So this was the idea that triggered myself to start a project on this, and then as I did a lot of research and everything, figured out how to read the PIDs to get information from the car, battery temperature, power, energy, and all that stuff. So I figured I would put more information in there, and then to build on that feature. So this is why I put some hours in and everything, and I started that project.
Which I love. I love having the option of actually seeing the percentage and the range. That's basically the screen that it's always on for me. My wife changes it to the interior temperature. I quickly change it back.
Yeah. But I see. And one thing that I found it very useful for is to know the actual temperature of the battery, because the power that the car can take depends on the temperature. The higher the temperature, the more power you'll get at level 3 charging station, and so that's useful for that type of scenario too, to actually know at this 5 degrees Celsius or 15 degrees Celsius you start to get more and more power, and at 26 Celsius you get more power. So that's another thing that interested me at that time when I built that.
And have you used it because there's winter mode on our Konas, have you used it to actually see if that works?
Yes, well, basically, I've seen, I monitored the heater, the heater, does the heater kicking and everything. And actually, that's one point that I think IND could improve eventually in the future. If I compare, for example, to Tesla, because the heater is only kicking in to warm up the battery at some point when you charge the car. At level 2 or
Yeah.
level 3, it does not really do preemptive, or it does not really kick in prior to charge. So that's something
Okay.
that I&D could improve eventually to make it more intelligent or smart. That's
Yeah.
it. So, but the winter mode, as far as I've seen, I mainly seen the heater function. When does the heater kick in to raise the
Yeah.
temperature of the battery pack to accept more power?
Because I was figuring once it actually finally gets cold here, we've had quite the warm spell, and actually do a longer trip and actually watch that battery temperature now that I can do it a lot easier. Um, but and so at what point in all your research did you think to make essentially a product that you would sell? Or did it start with you making something for yourself and somebody seeing it and
Yeah, that's right. Basically, I started to do it for myself and everything, and I figured at some point that it did raise the interest of other people, in my community, especially more in
yeah,
Quebec. And then some people said, "Oh, yes, I would be interested to have a device like this," because one of the main goals of the device is that it's simple to use. It's plug and play
yes,
device, and then one of the big disadvantage is that if you use another system with your cell phone, you need to have an app and everything. You need to get
yeah,
a lot of information. You need to do a lot of stuff, transfer PID files in your app, customize your screen. It takes quite a while. Even if you're technical, you can play 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, or to it exactly
yeah,
like you want. So I wanted to do something simple. And the second thing is that I always wanted to have my system on. I did not want to, take
yeah,
my cell phone, start the app, put the cell phone on my dash in a holder of some kind and everything. I wanted to do, I get in, I start a car, I start to drive, and I have the info whenever I want it. So this was one of the main
yeah,
goal, besides the fact that, I do not want to leave a cell phone in my car all the time and everything. So I wanted to have something that is reasonable, small, and then plug and play. So this was, one of the main goal. And then people started to be interested in everything. So at that point, I said, well, that may be interesting to actually make a product and to make it available to people. So this is why, I decided to make it available.
yeah. Um, the size of it, is that intentional? It seems to fit right nicely to the USB in the cubby hole.
Yes, yes. Well, I wanted to have something small. Obviously, not too small because you want to be able to read the digits and the numbers and everything.
Yeah,
Uh, but that's another thing. I did not want to have something big, even a cell phone with all the parameters all at once. I wanted to move away from that. So I really did some research to see, what kind of board I could use and everything. And then this is why I've selected, a small unit like this to develop and to program it.
and with the cell phone side of it, when you have your cell phone running an app, you no longer can use it for other stuff. Like even when my wife is in the passenger seat, she'll just grab my phone to search for whatever. Where if you're using that then to try to get this info, you no longer have the info you want. Where this with even, I think you seem to only have about 3 is the maximum number of items per screen. So it's a very easy to read setting. Like there's not a whole lot of stuff to try to figure out what is the piece I want.
Yeah, that's correct. So that's correct. And what you're saying is right. The phone, mainly, you want to use it for something else. Some people use it with the CarPlay or whatever, and then Android Auto or something like that. So, it's nice to have something that is separate, but that gives you information that, you would like to see at some point.
Yeah. And have you had any dealers contact you to, I would think this be a great product to sell with a vehicle. But has any dealers attempted to contact you?
Actually, yes. And I'm actually in discussion with the dealer in Quebec, in a few towns in Quebec, because more and more you get these type of cars will go into the second market. People are going to sell them and everything. And one of the features of the unit is that you can see the state of health of the battery and stuff like that. So for them, it's going to be very nice, to have this device to quickly check, in the car, the information on the car. So actually, yes, I'm actually right now in discussion with them, and then it may happen eventually to start in Quebec,
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, because as soon as I set it up and was looking through it, I'm like, this would be perfect for a dealer. And have you, because with the state of health that it shows, have you had any pushbacks from dealers because it shows that? I'm just thinking more of if a battery starts dropping really quick, you're seeing that as an issue right away type deal. So possible warranty type issues.
At that point, because the car is so new, and then I think I've seen in one case, in one car, that state of health was not 100%. So it dropped actually at 99% for one car. And then, so at that point, it's not a big issue from what I. And I'm in the beginning of the discussion with the dealers and everything. So this, we did not have any issue on that. And probably that the Kona, for instance, and the Nero and everything, they build an extra buffer on the battery, because officially they sell it as a 64 kilowatt hour battery per car. And then the real battery capacity is slightly higher, around 67 kilowatt per hour. So at that point, and that's something that is interesting, because even for Ionics, it takes quite a long time, 1-2 years or so, to start to see a degradation, in the state of health.
Yeah. And I guess I should have asked this before. What vehicles does this work on?
It works on the Kona EV, on the Kia Niro EV or e-Niro. It works on the Kia Soul, but on the Kia Soul starting from the year 2020 plus. This is something actually that is going to be corrected on my website, the way it's written and everything. And then for the Kia Niro EV, it's for all the year, for starting from 2019 and up, for the 100% electric version, because I think there's an hybrid version of the Niro also, but it doesn't work on
that. I've heard there's plug-in versions of both the Kona and the Niro. I have never seen any, but is there a reason you're sticking to the Hyundais and Kias? Is this something that you could branch out to other electrics, or is there something that just doesn't make that work?
Actually, it's a very good question. And it's funny because I'm in discussion with dealers and places in Quebec where they use a lot of cars, like the Chevy Bolt, for example, which is a lot popular, the Chevy Bolt. The new Ford Mach-E that is going to get out, so there's maybe something that will be in development for those cars eventually, but the main thing is that since I own a Kona, I developed it with my car and everything, so it's fairly possible that in the next weeks or months ahead, I will have access to other cars, and the Bolt would be a very nice car to do this, to do a device like this. And I got some requests about that. So it's going to come fairly, in the next months, I think.
So would that mean you would have to essentially rewrite the whole code and all that for each different vehicle, or
actually
is it a lot less work, or you're not sure?
Most of the code, a lot of code would be common to everything, like Bluetooth communication and stuff like that, asking for data and everything. So I would say that probably 60 or 70% of the code would be, standard or common, and there would be minor differences or small differences between the models, the car models, and what parameters we can actually get in that car and the other car. So it will be a lot faster, to develop a version for example, a Bolt or for the Mach-E or whatever, since most of the work is done, to start with.
And especially with the Bolt, I'm noticing kind of the ones that started off on the 4-year lease are now getting resold. So it'd be nice to at least know for sure what the battery state of health is and all that.
That's correct. So I think we're at the beginning of the EV era and everything. There's going to be more cars like the Bolt, and the second-hand market is coming in. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be interesting to develop things, for other cars as well.
And so is this a full-time job? Are you the only one, only employee of EVOBD2, or?
Yes, I'm the developer, and for at that time it's a one-person, company. I would do everything myself and everything. Eventually that may change, but up to now it's a personal project that came, into a product.
Oh, okay. And I noticed there's the new screens on the 2.0 version. Was there a reason on the first version that those weren't available, or you just didn't see it as something that was needed at the time?
Yeah, that's correct. At that time, for the first version, I wanted to get the information, from the car, temperature, energy, state of health, power, and everything. And as time went by, and using the car and everything, well, I said, it may be interesting to get some other functions, or to get actually the trip meter, the trip B, which we don't have in the Kona right now. We have updated trips information and everything, and the average speed for some people, it's interesting to see. Well, I did a trip of let's say 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours, but what was my real speed? So this is something I added, and then I got, actually, it's very interesting because I got feedback from a lot of my customers, to push me requests, or it would be interesting to do this and that. And actually, the recent base gum, the revised range screen, was actually an idea that came from one of my customer, and I said, well, that's interesting, and we pushed around this idea, and we made it that way.
And I guess for those that don't necessarily know, the recent based GOM or guessometer, that's actually the screen I always have mine on. So it has the battery percentage, your kilowatt hours per 100 kilometer average consumption, and then the how many kilometers are left. But you do it different than how the main GOM does it. Do you want to tell people how yours is done compared to what Hyundai or Kia do for theirs?
In the car, mainly, they analyze or they look at a few kilometers back, in the trip, to base the consumption of the car and to make the estimate of the range, the remaining range. And then in some cases, when there's a difference in consumption, let's say you drive a full day normally without anything on your roof, and then the next day you start driving, but you put a box on your roof for skis and everything, so the consumption is increasing. So the idea is that in the EVOBD2, it looks at the last 50 kilometers, or roughly the last half hour or 30 minutes driving, to analyze the consumption and then to make a more, accurate, estimation of the range. And actually, what I found really interesting, I was listening to the podcast that you did the other day about the unit, and you said something very interesting. You said that you like to use that screen, and then you said that you look at the range on the car and the range on the ED2, and you actually use the lowest amount or the lowest to be on the
same whichever. Whoever's lower is
that's correct, and I found that really interesting because that's that's one of the main goals. Also, is that you want to be on the safe side, and then on the opposite side, it's I don't know if you heard some stories that people use for instance, the Kona to try to get the most out of it, or to hypermile, to try to drive and to have the maximum range by going at a lower speed. And then in that case, obviously, in theory, you could get 600 or 700 kilometers, but the unit display in the car will not show that. But if you decrease the consumption and everything on the unit, you can see at some point that the range is going to increase on the EVOBD2.
Which is nice to know, especially this past summer. I actually did a trip out to Alberta, and there was actually one part that it wasn't quite hypermiling, but I definitely found the semis to follow behind, and I was doing about 80 on the highway to make sure I get to that next charging. Where with this, it actually would give me that bit more accurate of a number that I would have than what Hyundai would give me, because they're looking at the past 1,000 or so kilometers that I've done versus what I'm doing.
That's right. And in
now.
a real life scenario, we talk about hypermiling, but we don't do it on purpose. Mostly, let's say you drive on the highway and then you come. I live in Montreal, and when you come to the city, there's a lot of traffic depending at what time you're coming in, and you're going very, very slow. You're stuck in traffic and everything. So you can see that consumption is reducing. So your range is actually won't drop as fast as before. So a bit short, you're saying, at least I have X amount of kilometers that I have more, so I should be okay to arrive home or something like that.
Yeah, it's that peace of mind that it gives you. Is there anything that you would like to say about your product? Is there, I know I guess it's been about a month that I've been using it, and it's fantastic. I've used the different apps before, and this is the most easy to use, gives me relevant information out of anything I've seen out there. But the floor is open to you, whatever you would like to say about
Yeah. So
the product.
what I can say is that there's space for evolution. So there's, like you say, I released version 2 and you only know version 2 because you did not know the version 1. But there's a lot of ideas in the works to, to build on that and to add some other extra, for instance, an automatic battery capacity measurement, for example, besides state of health, because the state of health is what high-end is telling you. The battery is 100% and everything. But you could actually have something that is going to measure the actual battery capacity, in a more accurate way. So these are other ideas that, are going to be built on the product. And then it's possible for, people who have the device to eventually upgrade, or add some other function in the unit. So it's something that is that I believe in, to make the product evolve. So that's something interesting.
And I guess going with the whole version 2.0, if you do have that version 1, you, instead of buying a whole new product, you can actually essentially just pay a little bit for a software upgrade, which I think is fantastic. It's almost like you're constantly improving. You're still getting the bang for the buck.
That's correct. So that's the main thing, is that you already have the unit. So eventually, when there's some big change, I'm not talking about here about, let's say some bugs or correction or stuff like that, which actually could, does not, require a new version or everything. But if you make, a lot of changes, you really add extra value, to the functionality. It's something that is great at some point. And like you say, the person can only upgrade, the unit and, use the new version.
And it kind of goes back to the whole EV thing of being environmentally responsible. Instead of just tossing out this unit to go into a landfill or whatever, you're just updating it, making it new again.
That's correct.
Is there anything you would have done, if you could go back, anything you would have done differently with either the product or how you've put the screens or anything like that?
Well,
or did you do multiple iterations before even what we see, that you've kind of made all the mistakes?
I did
you kind of got it where you want
mistakes
it
at the beginning. And for example, at some point I was thinking about using the display, which is a rectangular display on the horizontal side instead of vertical, be able to move it, and I found out that, for instance, if you have driving sunglasses and you drive and you have polarized glasses, so if you switch the screen horizontally, you don't see anything, So these are the things. So I was, I had to use the display that way. And in the end, I think it's very nice because, the socket to plug the unit is at the bottom and everything. So, but these are the kind of things that I discovered along the way. So there were a lot of iteration and changes and everything. And then, we keep on improving it. And actually things are maybe improved in the plastic case, for example, to make the unit more robust and everything. So there's a lot of things that, I'm thinking of eventually change in the future.
Is this something you would like to see expanded to other products, or just maybe to other car
Yes,
makes?
like I said before, to do a similar type of product for, the GM cars, the Chevrolet, and that would be interesting. So this is something that may be expanded to do different type of cars.
Awesome. And is there, I guess, anybody that may be looking possibly at it, but not quite sure if it's something that would benefit them? What would you like to
Well, I
tell
would
those
say
people?
that for me, it's very interesting because one customer told me, well, if you only add one screen with the battery percentage, he said to me, I would be happy with that. Okay, so that's one thing. And other people told me, well, state of health is very nice, So basically, and then the power, the battery temperature, which is critical for charging. All of these things are nice features, So some people are less interested in some functions. Others are very interested, for example, for monitoring the 12-volt battery, which we didn't talk very much. But I know some people who had a lot of problems with their 12-volt battery, and they had issues and everything. So they were using that screen quite a bit. So it really depends, on the use and the type of people.
I guess, yeah, that is. I guess I've never had the 12-volt battery issue, but yeah, the 12-volt battery. I'm just gonna find that screen right here, but it's actually really nice because you can watch it charging or discharging. I guess I've also always had in the cigarette plugs. I actually have a deal that tells me the battery voltage, so I've never really thought of it, but yes, for those that don't have the extras or whatever, it is actually a fantastic thing. It does tell even the amperage and all that, current to amps, current voltage, and the state of charge on it, which is fantastic, especially for those worried about the battery issues. It's kind of that advance warning that something
And
might happen.
one other thing that I found interesting is that for the energy screen, for the kilowatt hours, it's interesting that you can monitor how many kilowatt hours were actually charged in your battery, as opposed to what the charger is outputting. For example, you charge your car overnight, and then if you have a smart charger, or if you go on a public charger and everything, it's going to tell you, well, the charge was 44, for instance, a kilowatt hour. If you look at what energy actually got inside the car, if you reset the energy counter, you may see that you get 39 kilowatt hours. So the difference, you can actually see the efficiency, of the car, what energy is being lost, from in the process of converting.
Which can be due to trying to get that battery up to optimal temperature, the cord. There's all sorts of stuff that we're sort of paying for that we don't sort of get. I don't want to take up too much of your time. So, is there anything you would like to say else about your product and the constant improvements or whatever? Whatever you'd like to say about your product.
It's available. It's there. You can get more information, more details, the manuals and everything on the website EVOBD2.com. Two for
And
number
that's
two,
the
that's
number
right.
two, not the
Then,
word.
you
Yeah.
can look around, see what the unit does, see a few pictures, videos, get to know the product. And if it's interesting for you, there's, it's available.
And you do
Yes,
ship
and
worldwide,
that's another thing
correct?
that is interesting. There's a lot of people in Canada who likes them. I ship across Canada, in the States as well. Something that I may add is that in the version 2, I added, the imperial units, like the Fahrenheits for the temperature and the miles.
Yeah.
There's a lot of units that I send to the UK who are, working in miles and Fahrenheits too. And then in some countries in Europe, like Norway and everything, there's more and more EVs. So it's something that, is available worldwide at that point.
Awesome. I definitely think we'll be talking again once you get onto possibly even the Chevy Bolt, or grow to be this international powerhouse of knowledge for EV owners. But I'm going to wrap it up. Is there, other than the website, EVOBD2.com, what's the best place for people to find you, ask you questions?
Well, it's mainly from the website, either on the web or, for example, on Facebook. You can, search EVOBD2. You'll find a Facebook page. So these are mainly the two main contact points that people can, get in touch with me.
And I'll put those.
Perfect.
I'll put those in the show notes if anybody wants those.
And I really
awesome.
enjoy, talking to you, and I appreciate that you invite me on your podcast, which is, very interesting. And I hope there's going to be more and more podcasts like yours in Canada, which is awesome.
We definitely need more about our lovely chilly weather. And it's always great talking to people that are far smarter than me, that are making these great products for those of us here in the cold to actually get more out of our vehicles.
And I really, thank you for this opportunity, to talk to you about the product.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you very much.
You too.
You have yourself a great night.
Bye.
I want to thank again Jean-Pierre for his time and knowledge. Extremely smart man, and hopefully he's able to actually get more of these out, and more people actually a lot more knowledgeable on kind of the inner workings of their electric vehicle. Gives that peace of mind that we're all looking for. So I do highly suggest you guys take a look at his website. It's EVOBD and the number 2.com. That the link is going to be in the show notes. Feel free to check that out and purchase yourself one. And hopefully in due time he's able to get that out to the other electrics out there, that like the Bolt. And I'm not sure, there might be another one out there for Tesla already, but hopefully he can reach out to the other electric vehicles and get that going. I'm making a bunch of noise here. Hopefully you guys can't hear it. And but just like Eric and the others did, the comment about my the quality, I guess, of the podcast was actually on Facebook. So it was just a comment off of my share of the podcast. So that's why I can't find it again. But feel free to reach out to me with those feedback. Again, I say positive, negative. I take it all. And hopefully I can learn and make this a better podcast for everybody. And on that note, I do say, hey guys, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach out to me as a voice message on Anchor, which that's how Eric reached out to me. And again, so voice message on Anchor. You could find me on Twitter at EV_North. You can find me at Facebook True North EV, and you can find me on YouTube. There's a few videos on there. One is actually of the EVOBD2, kind of unboxing it, and another one that there was the complaint about the quality. I'm sorry, I am not a very good videographer, I guess. Not a very good podcaster either, but videographer, podcaster, learning it all. And again, go check out Kilowatt and EV Resource. Those guys have way more knowledge, way more news, way more info than I do, and way better podcasters than I am. EV Resources also he does YouTube videos, so he's a way better videographer than I am, and he does a monthly magazine called EV Resource. So yeah, go check those guys out. Again, those links are in the little show notes below. And yeah, feel free to contact me. I take it all in. You guys have yourself a great day.